I thought I was doing everything right. I didn't work a single Sunday, not even one. And I ate lunch and supper with my family almost every day. I sat at the table, I smiled, I nodded. I was there, wasn't I? The truth was, I wasn't. Not really. But I tell myself, this is enough. I'm providing, I'm showing up, I'm honoring God by not working on Sundays. But inside, I was stuck. I was trapped in this endless cycle. And here's what it looked like. At supper, my body was at the table, but my mind, it was still at work. It was thinking about deadlines and solving problems and running through to-do lists. Then when I was at work, I was feeling guilty. I'd think, why am I missing all these moments? Why am I not more present with my family? And then I just push that guilt to the side because, well, I mean, the work had to get done. And I kept telling myself, I'll just work harder and things will get better. But it didn't. And it all came to a head during my oldest daughter's senior year of high school. I was so stressed out about paying for college that I fell back into some old habits. So working too much, staying distracted, and almost missed her last year at home. But even when I realized it, I couldn't seem to stop. I sit at dinner thinking about the deadlines. I'd sit at my desk feeling guilty. It was this endless loop. And Saturday came. It was a Saturday afternoon. I'd spent all morning and part of that afternoon buried in work. But I knew I actually had to stop if I wanted enough daylight to go tackle the yard work I had ahead of me. So I grabbed my gloves and my weed eater and I headed outside to the front yard to fight the bamboo shoots that were taking it over. The problem had started small enough. It was just a few shoots here and there, but I ignored it and then it spread underground. And now every Saturday for months, I've been out there hacking away. Now, as I worked, I listened to an audiobook called The Power of Full Engagement. And the concepts were familiar to me, but there's this one story. It's about a man who kept telling himself that things were fine. But the truth was, things were not fine for him. He wasn't there with his family and he wasn't really there at work. And it just hit me. So I shut off my saw and I stared at the front of the house. The house I've been so stressed about refinancing, the deck I was worried about replacing, and I looked up at the window of my oldest daughter's bedroom and I realized that I've spent more time stressing out how to pay for her future than actually being with her in the present. She was leaving soon and I was actually missing her while she was still here. And that moment really hit me hard. I've been chasing happiness by working harder, but it wasn't working. And the truth was, I wasn't happy because I wasn't focused on what actually mattered. It's my family, my faith, and even my own well being. So I made a decision that I wasn't just not going to work Sundays, but I was going to stop letting work take over my mind on Sundays. And then when I was with my family, I'd be fully focused on my family. And at first, it felt impossible. I'd sit at lunch and my brain would start running. Did I reply to that email? Why isn't my latest code changes working? But every time that happened, I'd stop. I'd take a breath and I'd remind myself, this can wait. I started small. I would ask my wife questions and actually listen to her answers. I looked my youngest daughter in the eye when she talked, and I would notice little things like the way her face lit up when she was excited. Slowly, the noise started to be quiet, and I could hear my oldest daughter talk about her friends and her job and her plans for the future. And I wasn't just physically there anymore, I was actually with them. And as I focused on my family, I started to pay attention to other areas of life too. My faith, my friends, my feelings, my foresight, my fortune. And I realized something important. Happiness doesn't come from perfect balance, It comes from focusing on the right things at the right time with faith right there in the center. So let me ask you this. Does my story at all sound familiar to you? Are you working harder and harder, but feeling more stuck? Are you distracted, thinking about work when you're with your family, or feeling guilty when you're at work because you're not spending time at home? Maybe like I was, you're now telling yourself it's okay because you're providing and you're showing up in small ways. But unfortunately, here's the reality: it's not just enough to be there physically, you actually have to be present. So take a step back and ask yourself, what area or areas in your life are you neglecting right now? Because here's the ironic part: the thing that you're neglecting might actually be the key to moving forward. If you're pouring all of your energy into work, for example, but you feel stuck, it could be because you've been neglecting your family or your faith or your own well being. It's not easy, but I do tell you it's definitely worth it. I mean, for me, it meant learning to fully disconnect on Sundays and to silence the work chatter that was in my mind and to actually give my family my full attention when I was with them. Happiness doesn't come from working harder, it doesn't come from the monetary reward that that brings, but it comes from showing up in the moments that matter most. Now, you can't get your time back, but you can decide to make a difference and start showing up today. So, here's my challenge to you: take a small step this week. What's one area of your life that you've been neglecting? And what's one small way that you can start showing up fully in that area? I mean, it's not easy, but it is worth it. And if you're actually ready to take things to the next level, you can join me in my upcoming Work Smarter Challenge. It's a 5-day challenge and it's designed to help you think harder so you can work smarter and actually be able to create the life that you really want. One where you're fully present for what matters most. Now, if you like this video, chances are you'll like this next video that YouTube is suggesting for you. I'll see you in the next video.